Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have finally reached the moment, the time for Peacemaker Episode 8, aka the Season 1 finale on HBO Max. And yes, this is the Season 1 finale because it was just confirmed yesterday. If you didn't hear the news already, I did a video on my channel about it, but Season 2 has been confirmed. You know, John Cena, everybody's coming back. James Gunn is returning to not only write every episode like he did this season, but next season he's actually also going to direct every single episode. He directed a couple episodes this season, but next season for Season 2, he is taking full charge, and he's bringing us Peacemaker in all of its glory, and yes, please. This is amazing. I mean, this is the end of Season 1, so this is my last chance during the season to mention how much I love the show. But if you couldn't tell already, I love this show. It's amazing. It really is so good, especially considering that when this was first announced, I was like, why are they making this? Literally nobody wants this. But then it actually comes out, we watch it, and it's just so good. It is such a good series. And, you know, we've seen very hugely exemplified over the past year with all these new streaming shows coming out, specifically with Marvel and the MCU, is how, like, these shows often start off really strong. Like, you can even see that with something like Titans Season 3. That had a really strong start to it, but then it just failed and fell apart so miserably by the end. And you've seen that happen a little bit with the MCU shows, where they do have really great starts, but then by the end of it, usually the finale feels kind of rushed and like it doesn't really stick the landing. But Peacemaker does. Peacemaker executes everything so well. It sticks the landing. It does everything it needs to do. And that, I think, is because of James Gunn. You know, his work and his experience with these big blockbuster movies, now being able to channel that into a series, and just everything going on here, just the whole vibe of James Gunn. Obviously, you know, one of the best things about James Gunn's work that we saw first with Guardians of the Galaxy is the music. So the soundtrack in the series is great. Also, the constant balance between comedy and emotion / basically, honestly, kind of depression. Because, like, this is a comedy. This is a really funny series. It's a really ridiculous series. But they balance out those really inappropriate, raunchy jokes and stuff with those really serious moments where you really feel for these characters. Which, speaking of that, the character development on this series is insane. I'd say on the level of something like Doom Patrol, which of course is also very well known for its character development, because in this series, literally every single one of our main characters has their own little arc. No matter how big or small it is, they each have their own arc, except maybe Vigilante. But then again, like, I don't think anybody wants him to change. I mean, he's a great character the way he already is. Very sadistic and insane, but we love him. So anyways, guys, enough just talking about how much I love this show. We need to go ahead and talk about this Season 1 finale, because, wow. Not only does it wrap up this season pretty much perfectly, but also there's some big stuff at the end of this that sets up some pretty big things going forward in the DCEU, not only for Peacemaker Season 2, but just the DCEU in general. So guys, of course, spoiler warning, we are going to be talking about the full episode, breaking out all the spoilers, the biggest moments, all that good stuff. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely make sure to go check it out on HBO Max. It is a masterpiece. But without further ado, let's jump into this and talk about Peacemaker Season 1, Episode 8, It's Cow or Never. So the episode starts with our team going on their one final mission to go kill the cow. Finally stop the butterflies once and for all. And all this trip we see Adebayo just keeps trying to apologize and kind of make amends with Chris, aka Peacemaker. He's not having it, at least not at this point in the episode. And so they come up with this plan. They need to go kill the cow. So we get a little kind of a refresher course on all these helmets that Peacemaker has. One of them being the Sonic Boom helmet, which is the one he used in the first episode to kill the like punk rocker chick. And so they're going to use that helmet and kind of infiltrate the barn where the cow is being held and where all the butterflies are hanging out, and place that in there, activate Sonic Boom, and hopefully blow everything up and save the day. But, you know, after multiple tries, it's not working out too well. Like, for example, you have Eagle trying to get the helmet up on top of the barn, but ends up just dropping it somewhere random. But it was a really funny scene, and we also get some really cool references here, like, for example, we get a reference again to Aquaman and what he does to fish, apparently. We get a follow-up on that later on the episode. If you saw it, then you know what I mean, and ooh la la. But we also get a really cool reference to Green Arrow. They, like, fully name-drop Green Arrow in this episode, confirming the existence of that character in the DCEU, and this is awesome. I love Green Arrow, and I really hope that we do get to see the character in the DCU at some point, whether that's maybe in that new Black Canary movie that we know is coming to HBO Max, or if he gets his own project, whether that's a movie or series. I don't know, but I love me some Green Arrow, and apparently he exists in the DCEU. But also going on in the midst of all this chaos, we have Peacemaker starting to have visions of his dad, and you can kind of see it's almost like PTSD, like he's having that trauma of his father haunt him even after he's dead, because he killed his father, and that's something that he never thought he would do. He was the one this whole time that was defending his father, but he's the one that killed his father. He's the one that killed Augie Smith. So now Robert Patrick is basically just haunting him as a ghost, and that's something that, based off the end of this episode, seems like is going to be something continuing on into season 2, which is something interesting. I'm excited to see how that plays out. But after this, we come up with a new plan where Economos is going to infiltrate the barn, go undercover, and I love how when he actually sees the cow, he gets scared, and you get a call back to the Suicide Squad, where I actually remember in the trailer when they first saw Starro, and Economos was like, "Whoa, it's a kaiju!" And so he references that again here when he sees the cow, and he was like, "No more kaijus, no more kaijus." And speaking of Economos, though, I love how also one of the butterflies, the guy that was Song's partner, I know it's the actor that was Betty's dad on Riverdale, he asks him about the beard and how it's dyed, and of course that's been a running joke throughout the season, but we finally get the origin of it, which was something I was not expecting, but I actually love it because it's so sad, and again adds to his character, because it's all about, like, he did it because he wanted to look more young and handsome, and he's, like, lonely and no one noticed him, and, like, it's really sad. It really is, and makes me like that character even more, and also just feel bad for him. So anyway, Economos escapes, and they activate Sonic Boom. There's a lot of destruction, lots of boom boom and all that stuff. And so then Team Peacemaker heads into action. Peacemaker has a shield, again, because, Peacemaker this whole time has been described, at least by John Cena and James Gunn, as like a douchey Captain America. So now he actually has his own kind of Captain America shield, so that was pretty cool. And so they head into action with Do You Want to Taste It playing in the background, of course, the theme song by Wigwam that we have for the opening credits. So that was great, fit perfectly here. We have Vigilante and Harcourt both get shot, and kind of looks like they could be dead. I'm glad neither one of them are, because I love both their characters. But it was a close one. But when the tables are turned, things are looking down, Adebayo heads into action. She actually ends up saving Harcourt from a butterfly going in her mouth and taking her over. And then Adebayo goes in to help Chris kill the cow. So we get this kind of really short mini final battle between Peacemaker and Goff/Song, whatever you want to call it, the butterfly. But then Song stops him and says, "I don't want to hurt you." And then she says, "Follow me." So Peacemaker does. He follows her. And she kind of explains the butterfly's side of things going on here, because apparently they were trying to save Earth. They came to Earth and they saw the signs, just like what happened to their own planet, how their own planet died, how now here that Earth is now dying as well because of the actions of humans. I'm assuming she's talking about like climate change and stuff like that. So the butterflies were trying to help this whole time. And Myrn, he wasn't a bad butterfly, but he just didn't agree with the way that these butterflies were going about doing things. And so this was a really interesting moment in the episode, because this was where I was kind of expecting, like, alright, Peacemaker's gonna change his mind, he's gonna all of a sudden join the butterflies. And I already thought that was a little weird, but then it gets even weirder when he then decides to not join them, shoots them all, kills them, kills the cow. Day is saved, butterflies are dead, which was not something all I was expecting, but at the same time it kind of made sense for how the story was going here, and just for the character arcs for these characters. So I love that. But then we get the best moment of the episode as the team is walking away in shambles. Luckily everyone is alive. Harcourt is in critical condition, but then all of a sudden the Justice League shows up, and wow, literally the Justice League. I mean, we got Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and Aquaman. I mean, The Flash and Aquaman are the only ones that actually speak, and Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller are the only ones that we actually see on screen there. But, wow. This is something I was both half expecting and half not expecting, because I did hear rumors prior to Peacemaker even starting that Aquaman would appear in the series, but at first I thought that was just a ridiculous idea. But then in the first couple episodes, when we saw the different Peacemaker helmets, and there was like a one for underwater, like breathing underwater, I was like, ooh, that could be how we see Aquaman. But not only do we see Aquaman in this episode, not only is it a funny cameo, again referencing back to his whole doing stuff with fish thing, but we get the whole Justice League. And like I said, Superman and Wonder Woman are in the shadows, but we get Ezra Miller's Flash in here as well, and this does confirm that it takes place before the Flash movie, because he is still wearing his suit from the Justice League movie, but Aquaman has his orange and green and gold suit from the Aquaman movie, so that's great. And, I'm assuming Wonder Woman was in the shadows just because they couldn't get Gal Gadot on set. As for Superman, it kind of looked like it could be Henry Cavill, but again, since we don't really know where that's at, if Henry Cavill is going to be Superman again, they were kind of leaving their options open. And then obviously neither Batman or Cyborg were there because, well, Cyborg, the whole Ray Fisher thing, and then Batman, at this point in time, Ben Affleck is Batman in this universe, so they also probably couldn't get him on set, and also, a couple months from now, we'll be getting Michael Keaton as Batman, so that's probably why that didn't happen, but still, I love this. It was so funny. And then I love how even the Flash supported the rumor about Aquaman. That was great. Literally just such a great scene, because the cool thing about it is that it was like this huge moment for the DCEU, knowing now that the Justice League are still together and everything, and seeing these characters appear in this episode and make cameos. But at the same time, the episode didn't need it. That's the cool thing, is that when something like this can just tell a good story and include something like this, but not need it, and instead just use it to elevate it to an even further level. But anyway, after this is when we get kind of our wrap up, our kind of epilogue, or is it prologue? No, it's epilogue. Our ending for our characters in the season, and see where everybody goes off. We get our kind of making of amends between Peacemaker and Adebayo. Peacemaker actually says that Adebayo is his BFF, obviously, after Eagly, of course. Adebayo actually goes on the news and exposes Task Force X and her mom. And we get a little quick cameo from Viola Davis as Amanda Waller here. She doesn't say anything. It's kind of just her crazy reactions to her daughter exposing her on TV. So that's something I'm interested to see, if that's going to be a storyline explored in Peacemaker Season 2, or another Suicide Squad movie, because I have heard rumors about the next Suicide Squad movie kind of being like a new, like a Suicide Squad team under the leadership of like Harcourt and Adebayo. I'm assuming maybe using members from the Suicide Squad movie, like Peacemaker, probably Bloodsport, and Harley Quinn, Ratcatcher 2, and like King Shark, the characters that survived that movie, versus Amanda Waller's own Task Force X team of villains, which awesome. I mean, that literally sounds amazing. I mean, no confirmation here, but this is definitely set up for that, and I'd love to see that. We also get Peacemaker and Harcourt kind of becoming unofficial couple, and I love how this wasn't forced either. Like, this relationship was something that was gradually set up throughout the season. Like, you got hints at it in literally, I think it was like the first or second episode, and it wasn't forced. Like, we went episodes without hints at that, and it's not like at the end of this episode, like, they kissed and like fully started making out and everything. Like, no, he just took her hand, and like that's enough. That's all it needed, and it's just chef's kiss. It's just done so perfectly here. Adebayo also reunites with her wife. Economos returns to Belle Reve, and I love how he has now the picture frame of the picture of him, Vigilante and Peacemaker, because like he's not lonely anymore. He's got friends now. Oh, man, I love this. This is just so good. Also, we have Judo Master. He's still alive, so that's great. I wish he had a bigger role in the episode, but, it's alright. Hopefully he returns next season. He sees the aftermath of the butterflies, and he just is sobbing there. Of course, still eating his Cheetos. So not sure where his story is going to go from here. But then the episode ends with Chris at his trailer feeding a butterfly, which could possibly be Goff. Maybe Goff survived. We don't know for sure. And then he sits down, and his father sits down next to him, again being kind of the visions of his father, that ghost that's haunting him, that now I'm assuming will be a big storyline in season 2. So that's it. That is the end. That is the end of Peacemaker Season 1, the end of Peacemaker Episode 8. And we do have a post-credit scene, of course, but it's just like the other episodes where the post-credit scene is kind of just like a deleted scene. So it's not really anything huge, just a funny scene with Vigilante. But yeah, I mean, I spent like the first like 3 or 4 minutes of this video talking about how much I love this series, and I could probably do it again, but you know, I already wasted enough time doing that at the beginning. So guys, I just love this. I mean, Peacemaker, it's so good. I'm so excited for season 2. I'm so excited for the things that were set up here. I mean, we got the Justice League, which gets me excited for like the Flash movie and stuff like that, to see where things are going with them, and also just Peacemaker Season 2 and possibly the Suicide Squad 3 and all that stuff. There's just so much going on here in the future of the DCEU that I'm excited for. I think it's going to be great. But guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. What did you think about the Season 1 finale of Peacemaker? What did you think about the Justice League cameo, the name drop of Green Arrow, everything that was set up in this season finale for Season 2, possibly the Suicide Squad 3, and just this whole season overall? So guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep it up to date on everything goes on in the DC life.